I didn't tell a man that the research he was mansplaining to me was my own, so I work in this super niche area of law that basically nobody outside the field knows about. It's really technical and honestly kind of boring to most people. I've been doing this for 9 years now, which sounds like a long time, but in this field you're still pretty young. I do research and publish papers and all that academic stuff on top of being an actual lawyer. My work isn't like famous or anything, but people who work in this specific area have definitely read my stuff. Anyway, last Thursday my friend Jessica texted me asking if I wanted to come out for drinks with her and a couple other people. I almost said no because I had a stack of case files on my desk, but I figured I needed to actually leave my apartment for once. So I showed up at this bar downtown around 7, and Jessica was there with 2 other friends and this guy I'd never met before. His name was Kevin. Jessica introduced us and mentioned that Kevin works in the same field as me. I got kind of excited because, like I said, this field is tiny, and I almost never meet people who know what I'm talking about when I mention my job. Kevin and I started talking, and it turned out he's a legal advisor, not a lawyer, but he works on the exact same topics I do. We were having a pretty normal conversation about work stuff, and I was actually enjoying myself. Then we got into this discussion about a specific legal principle, and we had different opinions on how it should be applied. I explained my view and why I thought it made sense based on the case law and the academic research. He listened and then basically told me I was wrong and that my opinion wasn't based on anything solid. Then he said his view was actually supported by professional research. He pulled out his phone and started scrolling and said something like, "Yeah, there's this legal researcher who published a whole paper on this and it completely backs up what I'm saying." I was curious, so I asked who wrote it. He said my name, my actual full name. I just sat there for a second processing that, and then I was like, "Oh, interesting, what does the paper say?" And this man proceeded to explain my own research to me, except he got it completely wrong. Like, I'm not talking about a small misunderstanding. He fundamentally misread the entire point I was making in that paper. He was explaining it like he was teaching a class, and I was some student who didn't know anything. He kept saying things like, "It's actually pretty straightforward, and the author makes it clear that." And then he'd say something that was the exact opposite of what I actually wrote. At one point he said I argued for something that I specifically argued against in the conclusion. I asked him if he was sure that's what the author meant, and he said, "Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple actually." He said it in this tone like I was dumb for even questioning him. I didn't correct him. I just let him keep going. He talked for like 20 minutes, explaining all these points that were just flat out wrong. I was trying not to laugh because it was honestly kind of amazing watching someone be so confident about something they clearly didn't understand. My friend Jessica gave me a weird look at one point, like she could tell something was up, but she didn't say anything. Eventually, the conversation moved on to other stuff, and we talked about normal things like where we went to school and what we do on weekends. Kevin was actually pretty normal when he wasn't trying to explain my own work to me. We stayed at the bar until like 11, and then everyone started getting ready to leave. We were all standing outside saying goodbye, and I decided I couldn't just let it go. So right before Kevin walked away, I said, "Hey, by the way, I'm actually the person who wrote that paper you were talking about earlier, the one you quoted. I wrote it." He just stared at me for a second. Then his face got red and he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, that research you were explaining to me for 20 minutes was mine, and you kind of got it all wrong." He completely lost it. He started yelling about how I manipulated him and set him up to look stupid. He said I humiliated him on purpose and that I should have told him right away. I just said, "You embarrassed yourself," and walked to my car. Jessica and the others were just standing there looking uncomfortable.